Very cool looking stuff.
They'll be able to just look at these tags.
As always, you know, never assume that you're gonna nail human anatomy by the time you die.
Yeah.
So we could all practice and get better and better and better. And there's actually nobody got too good at drawing anatomy. So practice your anatomy as often as possible. Okay, doesn't even have to be on a finished page. You can practice your anatomy in
rough draft sketches.
Sketches, little quickie drawings, little gesture drawings while you're waiting for the toast to pop. Whatever, you can use any opportunity. You said this material is the same as this material?
Yes, it's just the reference.
Okay. As far as your storytelling goes, your storytelling is really strong. I have no problem following everything that's going on.
Okay.
If you want to keep your storytelling from being a little too static, maybe be a little more dynamically interesting, even when it's just quiet scenes like this, a great rule of thumb for storytelling is to never draw two characters the same size on a page. Even though this is a bunch of different panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different panels, when I open it up, this is still one big giant image that's open in front of my eyes. And basically what happens here, when you open it up and you've got all these characters who are kind of the same size relative to each other, even though they're in different shots, they might even be in different scenes, all of a sudden it takes on, your brain looks at it and goes, oh, it's a crowd scene. Everybody's the same size. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know where to tell my eyes to look, So the important thing to do is, unless you're doing an actual crowd scene where everybody's, standing around, a police lineup, everybody's the same size, that kind of stuff. Daredevil jumping across the rooftops, they've got little staccato images of Daredevil jumping. Try to vary how big or small the people you draw are on the pages. And it's real simple. It's basically when you do your thumbnails, look at it and go, oh, wow, okay, I laid this out and I've got 5 characters that are all the same size. You go, okay, this character here, I'm going to zoom in on their eyeball. That character there, I'm going to zoom in on just their face. This other character, I'm going to actually zoom out so I can see them and the background. Even if it's 2 people talking on a phone, it's okay to basically just for the sake of keeping the pages dynamic and interesting, you pull the point of view of the reader back into the next yard, looking past a bird bath, and your characters are 2 silhouettes in the background. That's okay. That's okay to do stuff like that because it keeps your page interesting. It keeps the audience from getting like, unless of course you want them to feel that way. It's a great storytelling device. It's something that if you control, you go, hey, I really need the reader to get into a sense of blah here, because in the next page, I'm hitting them with an action scene. Then you might actually have fun doing something like, okay, I'm gonna draw everybody the same size and make the reader just kind of fall into a state of torpor, and then you go, wham, when you turn the page. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Your figure drawings look good, like I said, but you can always practice. Your rendering's nice, got a good, sharp, clean attitude. I wouldn't be afraid, even though you're doing this gray stuff, I wouldn't be afraid to do more stuff with solid blacks like this, because a lot of times, if you notice from a distance,
it starts to blend in.
It all becomes the same value. The reason why we use zipatone, or the reason why we use feathering and cross-hatching, is because when we're drawing comics like this, we only have 2 values, the white of the paper and the black of the ink. When we do things like feathering, or cross-hatching, or zipatone, we're doing tiny little black lines or tiny little black dots against the white to create a gray, correct? Just make sure that, when you're doing your thumbnails, you pay attention to where's the path of interest, what do I want people to look at? Because, if you want that whole background to disappear into a sort of a gray medium value, that's great. But do it because you planned it that way. As the storyteller, as the guy, you are driving the story bus, and it's your job to go, hey, all right, everybody, I'm going to lead your eye exactly where I want it to go. I'm going to control how fast it gets there and how slow it gets there, all with my storytelling. So you're in charge of that. And the thing is if you're doing things that you aren't aware of, you're not really controlling where the reader looks. You're not controlling their path through the story. So be more conscious of when you're doing your storytelling of like, hey, am I actually drawing attention to this guy talking in the middle of this outdoor scene? Am I making it hard to find him because he's, you know, a white figure against a gray backdrop, you know? Like, when I look at this page for the first time, my eyes focus on this character right here because it's like this solid black mass of hair with this white face and this gray backdrop. This has dynamic composition and it's got a real strong graphic sensibility. Okay, use that to your advantage. You've got 2 whole pages here. You have to sit there and go, okay, in this 2 whole pages, what do I want people to really focus on and like, okay, this is the oomph moment. What are the moments where I maybe don't want them to notice something? In an instance like that, you can use this to your effect. You know, I'm not saying these are bad. These are actually strong storytelling techniques you've got. I just think that maybe you need to practice and expend some thought as to when and where you use them, because this isn't really the greatest situation. We would call this a very middle key type of shot. You know, like, it's not very bright, it's not very dark, the contrast isn't very high. There is a lot of great places where you can use something like this to your advantage and really help tell your story. So just pay attention to that kind of stuff when you're laying out your stories, and always think, you know, what would a stranger look at when they see this? What would the reader? I mean, you know what's going on because you probably wrote the story or you're reading from the script.
Take a look again.
Think about things like that, like when you're doing your composition. You know, where you're directing their eye, what you're drawing attention to with high contrast stuff, what you're de-emphasizing with not low contrast. It's really a helpful tool. You know, stuff like this is great. Things like this where you actually go, okay, I'm going to change to a bird's eye view looking down. Anybody else probably would have just done that and done this guy, profile of that guy's head, profile of that person's head. Just two Muppets talking. You know, that's a great way of breaking things up. That's a great way of going, okay, I'm not going to give you the same shot, panel after panel, page after page, and allow the reader to get a little, you know, a little dull. I used to know a guy back when I first started. He could only draw medium shots, and he drew them like a god. He drew the most amazing medium shots. He would do entire issues of a comic with medium shots. And I would tell him by the end, I literally wanted to eat a bullet. I said, 22 pages of your gorgeous medium shots make me want to die. You know, you're a great artist, but you got to learn to, you know, move your characters around. Don't be afraid to like put a character in the foreground in complete silhouette, just to break it up, just to keep it interesting. Because you don't want to bore people by the end. This is a good sized digest you got going here. You don't want them to be like, I've seen.
Yeah, that's like the hardest part for me. It's just trying to find out how, because you know you're the director and you're always trying to find the best shot.
But like, you know, you're doing a great job of it by jumping around here. You know, you're not really making things visually uninteresting. A great artist named Wally Wood sat down one day and he did a little cheat sheet with just a marker. We took a marker and a sheet of typing paper, and he did something like the 21 shots that always work. And he basically made a little library for himself of 21 shots that always will work in a comic. Some of them silhouettes, you know, the close-up of the eyeball, the over-the-head shot, and he had all of them, and he kept them on a photocopy next to his drawing table. And if you ever found himself going, oh man, I'm falling into a little creative, like, you know, right here.
Yeah, I always feel like that. I always feel like I'm using the same kind of screens and shots. And
so what you need to do is, that's the best way to teach yourself how to become a better artist or better at anything, is to go, okay, what do I suck at? What am I doing wrong? You know, anybody can sit there and go, I do this great, I'm awesome. I'll just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, but you're not going to learn anything by it.
If you sit there and go, what am I doing wrong? You can actually become better because you're making a conscious effort to fix it. I would say go through your favorite comics, watch your favorite movies, and when you see a shot that you really like, you go, wow, that's kind of cool. Take the comic, freeze the movie, grab a marker, a big fat marker, because I don't want detail. You don't want like to get married in details. You just want to do like a little rough, you know, shape of what you're seeing, and make yourself a library of shots that work, especially shots that you don't normally do, and then rely on that. It's a great tool for helping you become a better artist, because the more you use them, they'll become second nature, and you'll become a much better storyteller. So That's what I would recommend. Your figure drawing is great, but always practice. Always practice. Your rendering is actually really nice. I like it, and God bless you for the use of zip tone. Nobody does that anymore. It's great to see it. And just do little things. Your storytelling is good. Make it a little more dynamic by doing some of the stuff we discussed. Is that okay? I don't know. Okay. Hope that wasn't too harsh.
No, it wasn't harsh at all.
I think your stuff's awesome, and you know, spend some more time being conscious of what you're doing. I think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, and that's the hardest